Hello, friends. Today I'm going to be talking about the rediscovered niyama of mati, which is thinking to reflect and understand, and also to reconcile in one's mind conflicting ideas. And in the course of these videos, I have talked about the rediscovered niyamas. They're new niyamas to us. And Dharmadas found these while he was doing research. They are very ancient. They precede Patanjali and his eightfold path of Ashtanga Yoga, in which he delineated the first two steps of that path as yama and niyama. And he had 5 yamas and 5 niyamas. Yamas are the things to avoid, to stop doing. And the niyamas are those things to put energy into, to do with enthusiasm and energy. In ancient times, the times of the Upanishads and other scriptures, there were 10 yamas and 10 niyamas. And so when we discovered these very ancient texts, it's been very interesting to meditate on them and to explore their meanings. And when we talk about mati, which is reflection on philosophical ideas, it differs from one of the niyamas that Patanjali lays out, Swadhyaya, which is self-reflection. And it's very similar to mati. But Swadhyaya is more asking the question inside, what can I do to perfect myself? And so Swadhyaya is talking about contemplating one's thoughts, speech, and action, and thinking about, okay, so I interacted with this person today, and I said that, and I said this, and that probably wasn't the best. I should have been more kind. I should have been more understanding. I should have been more helpful. I should have, let me learn from that exchange that I had with that person. And in the future, let me be more compassionate. Let me learn from that situation. That's Swadhyaya. That's self-study. That's thinking about what I thought, what I felt, what I did, and trying to change it for the better. Reflection, self-study, so that we can grow and improve ourselves. And mati is very similar, but mati means to study the scriptures as we've been told to do, and then to contemplate these ideas, to try to understand. A typical one would be, the scripture says God is the doer. But wait a minute, I'm making lunch. I'm eating lunch. How is God eating my lunch? It's that sort of conundrum of God is the doer, and yet I am acting and I'm reaping the benefits or the bad karma of my actions. So how does this all work? It's that sort of dilemma that mati is important to us for. So what we want to do is keep our minds free of distractions. So much of this life is filled with trivia, filled with all the little mundane necessities of life: washing the dishes, buying the food, preparing the food, cleaning up, taking the compost out, repeat and repeat and repeat. And all those little mundane duties which can fill our lives. And Mati is about taking our minds up a level or two so that we are contemplating the mysteries of life. We've often said in these videos that the scriptures are the instruction manual for living. They're life's instruction book. And we need to read those books. We need to read and understand them and go back and reread them again and understand them on deeper and deeper levels. And when we do that, then we can fill our consciousness with higher vibrations. We're not just stuck in the traffic jam of daily life and all of its little ups and downs. I remember the first year that I came to Ananda, I was working in the garden, and I had not lived in California for very long, just maybe 2 or 3 years. And so the flora and fauna of California was still very new to me. I had seen, for example, lupins, the little ones that are a beautiful, beautiful blue. But I had never seen before the gigantic ones that grow very, very tall and are multicolored. And they're just fantastically beautiful and ethereal looking. They're very unusual. So there were some of these very large lupins growing in the garden, and I was marveling at them. Meanwhile, one of my self-styled bosses came along and was like, "Why are you looking at the flowers? It's time to weed the tomatoes," It's just snap to it. And I did, but in my mind, I thought, don't you ever lose that delight in the mysteries of life. Don't ever get jaded so that, like my friend, you could just walk by those lupins and not give them a second thought. Never be like that. And I remember vividly vowing that I would preserve that sense of magic and beauty. And that's what we need to do. We need to not allow our minds to be constantly distracted by the minutia of life, but instead to take the time to meditate, to contemplate a larger reality, our true reality. This is Mati. This is a very, very helpful and uplifting niyama that we should incorporate into our lives. I've often loved that saying, "I can't hear myself think." And I've often felt that way because there's so much commotion, so much noise, so much to do, so much running around. And especially during this time of the pandemic and being more socially distanced and taking more time to be sequestered, we can still watch television, have the radio on, and just be talking on the phone all the time, and just having this constant static in the mind. But meditation helps to still that avalanche of sensory overload. And further, we need to take that time to just be quiet, to do something meditative. For me, working in the garden can be meditative. Dharmadas and I loved to run our log splitter when we heated our home with firewood, and we would both wear headphones, and my job was to run the hydraulic lever that split the log, and his job was to position it correctly on the splitter. And there was no way we could even hear each other talk. It was so loud that we needed headphones. But it was a very focused job. Could be dangerous. You had to pay attention. And because of the loud noise, we had to be very one-pointed. And so that became, for both of us, a kind of meditative activity. Swami Kriyananda used to talk about a walking meditation, where you get up from your meditation at the end of it, and still in that quiet state of mind, go for a walk, feeling nature around you, listening for the sounds of birds or running water in a river. All of that reminding you of God. That is a perfect time for mati, for remembering and contemplating the mysteries of the universe, how this planet came to be, and how it supports these life forms. There are so many beautiful mysteries of life to contemplate, to experience, to realize. And so I urge you to take the time for mati, to think and reflect, to understand, and to reconcile these great mysteries. I am the doer, God is the doer, until we realize the truth.